Good morning, everyone. On behalf of SAKEC, we welcome you on a workshop on Introduction to Image Manipulation program. This workshop is hosted by SAKEC Research Cell. Doing the right thing for the right reason in the right way is a key to quality life, Stephen Curry said. Our Honorable Principal Dr. Bhavesh Patel has been actively following and instilling this in our students with his enormous contribution of 20 plus years experience, 40 plus research papers, 5 books, 3 patents, and SAKEC's first Indian patent. Sir reminds me of the quote, efficiency is doing things right, and effectiveness is doing the right thing. From the well wishes from Sir, I'd like to introduce our speakers, who will be joining us from BE7 EXTC department, our research cell very own heads of graphic department, Sanjana Suresh and Siddhant Sharma. Siddhant is a team lead at Bombay Section Student Activities Committee and is head of graphics in multiple student bodies, including Research Cell. Sanjana is a member of IEEE Bombay and is head of graphic team Research Cell. Under their guidance, I'm sure we will be able to understand and implement the graphics in our lives. Participants, an announcement before starting. Please don't forget to take selfies for the feedback form. And if you have any question, please note them down in the chat box. Now I'll request our honorable speakers to take this session. Thank you.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, all right. So, good morning, everyone. Today's graphics workshop, I am sure a lot of you must have attended previous graphics workshop as well. We took them on Photoshop, Canva, and all those other resources. But today's focus is on GIMP, which is GNU Image Manipulation Program. It's an open source software, and the best part about this is you don't need higher system resources. It's free and open source, so you can even contribute to it, and you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to use pirated softwares for it. And more than that, it's available on every platform like Windows, Mac OS, Linux. So it works everywhere, right? Now I'll just share my screen and we can get started. I hope my screen is visible to all of you. So we'll just start with GIMP. You can go on gimp.com and download the executable file, and the installation process is pretty simple. We've also shared an email with you last night, so over there you can find out how to install on various platforms. Right. So before starting any designing, today we are gonna take up a very basic banner that we created for Research Cell itself. It's going to be very basic, so to not make things difficult. One thing you need to understand about graphics designing is that the better you are at using tools and thinking, the better you are at putting your creativity or imagination on the board. It's not that it's rocket science, it's not that it's going to be very difficult. Even I started in my first or second year, and I was pretty bad. I still am make very bad designing mistakes, and sometimes even make worse designs. But it's a learning process, it's a learning curve. So the more you practice, or I should say, the more you keep trying your hands on, the more you design things, the more comfortable you will get, and you'll become more efficient, or I should say more proficient in that thing. So this is our workspace. One thing, we will always select a banner size. So let's bring out a canvas. You can always, the over here you get width and height, so you can select what kind of canvas you want. We'll go with an A4 size canvas, and we'll make it horizontal instead of vertical. And this is a canvas that is open here right now. Before starting any designing, we will have to select a set of resources that we need. So over here, I've created a resources photo or a folder, and you need a particular set of resources that will be there on your banner for sure. So there'll always be a background, definitely. There'll always be some event information that were given to you by your particular student branch or teachers or anyone. You need to have all that information at one place so that is not lost, and it helps you out later on. These are just some illustrations. This is a logo of collaboration, and these are just some standard logos of college research cell or research headers that you need to put on. To get these kind of illustrations or get this kind of resources, we do not personally design them because it's a very big task. It takes a lot of time otherwise. So there are always online resources that can be used up. I personally like to use all these resources. I have them in place for you, and we can share it with them later if anyone of you is interested. So fonts.google.com is a website where you can get various type of fonts. You can even download favicons from here, so which are smaller icons according to your use and needs, right? These are other these are small objects or small elements that you see in an image or a poster, and we end up taking it from all these free websites that are open sourced or free to use as resources. And a lot of times we design them itself in illustrators like Adobe illustrations, but it's a complex task, so we'll stick to basic banner designing today, right? uh, I'll just close this for now. Right, coming back to GIMP, so this is our background right here. And you guys, if you have any, doubts or anything, please feel free to ask me in the middle itself. Stop me right there, and I might explain to you then and there. So this is the background. This is the canvas. We have our tools on the left side. We have our text and patterns, brushes, everything on the right. And first of all, what you need to do is set up a workspace. So we'll go in preferences. Also, one of the things that you kind of need to be okay with, or you kind of need to understand, is this is an open source platform, right? It's actually a lot of scripts, a lot of programs that are being brought together by some 1,000, 2,000 people who are working in the community. So a lot of times it might, glitch. A lot of times this software might, uh, hang somewhere, or sometimes the features do not work. So you do not have to be scared about it or worried. You just have to save your work, close the program, restart it again, and everything will be just fine. So one of the most interesting things about this software over here is that you can actually allocate how much system resource you want to provide and how much compression or what kind of performance this software should give. So unlike Photoshop or unlike any other software that are cloud based, where the file sizes go in GBs and you run out of RAM and then your system starts hanging or it doesn't work efficiently, over here you can actually define how much is the limit, and this will automatically compress all the tools and elements then and there. So there are a lot of different interfaces. I tend to choose a darker interface. You can go with something that is gray, right? Or something that is lighter, or I will stick to dark, right? And then you can have icon themes. I ended up choosing legacy, but there are symbolic items. There are high contrast items. Okay. So first you set up a workspace. You can select what kind of appearance you want and what all tools are required. But all of the basic tools are definitely going to just be there. So we'll just end up being okay with it. Now we'll start working with the designing part of it. So I open my resources here. I take my background. I'll just drag it. And okay, so dragging doesn't work here, right? So what do you do if dragging doesn't work? So you can go as open as layers, and you can go on desktop, you can go on resources, and I just select my background. So I open my background as a layer right here. So there'll be layers over here for every other element that you add on your poster or banner. Now this kind of looks not scaled. So this is the move tool over here. Over here you'll find out the scale and adjust. On right clicking, you can select all the different kind of features like rotate, scale, shear, flip, however you want it to. We'll go to scale. We'll click on it, and now you can scale the image as you want. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, you can change the aspect ratio of it. So we'll just scale it to the size of the canvas, and then we press scale, and so we are adjusted, right? Now, for every banner that you make, there'll always be a header and a footer. So there are some standard headers and footers of our college itself. So we'll just go with the header of our college and end up making the header. So I'll go again, open as layers. This is the college logo. We imported the college logo over here. Okay. Now you see that it does not go well with the white background that we've chosen, and I want to make it a darker colored logo. So over here, there are various tools. They are very interesting tools. Over here, we have a fuzzy select tool. You can right click and select by color. So when I select the white color, it will select white color on the entire canvas. But I do not want that. I want a bluer color inside to be selected. So I'll go with that and I'll just press delete. And so my bluer color inside goes away. And now I just want to color this entire logo. So I'll go over here. First, let's place it, then we can color it as well. We can size it properly. So go on right click, scale again, size it. But we want to maintain the aspect ratio with our logos, right? So we can keep aspect ratio on the left side, and then it does not hinder with aspect ratios. Okay, we'll then color this thing. So we can go in paint bucket, clone over here. We have paint bucket right here, and we'll select the color. So let's go with a darker blue color. Oh, this is fine. Now we can just paint this whole thing. Okay. Right. And we'll just add text of our college. So let's go with uh, and we can select the font, what kind of font we want, but a standard font for our college is Algerian. So we'll select that, and you can select the size. You can control the size in millimeters or pixels, however you want it. Let's make it 10. And then we can use the move tool to move this around. We can go on this college layer with the logo, move it a little to the left. Again, not this. We'll add another text of our education trust. Now, how do you measure the center of your page? How do you bring out the center? So over here, you can always make guidelines that will help you with the center, or you can always keep measurements through rulers on your entirety of the page. So that is always helpful. We'll create it here. Okay. And then we'll add the research cell logo and research cell headers. Let's add both of them. Okay. We'll lock this layer up. Keep the research cell header here. We'll scale this thing as well. Make it the size of logo of college. Okay. And we can make this text a little smaller. Yeah. Now to add up the logo that were given. So we go into information about the event. So what is this? It's actually a call for proposal with National Research Development Corporation. So we'll just add up information about them. We'll add this logo here. We'll scale this to size as well. So scale. We'll add text of. Let's select some good font. Okay. And increase the size. 110. We need another text of in collaboration with, and select a black color. Right. Width, that is the perfect size. So okay, never mind. And then we'll write about the information that we have. So over here. So it's a call for proposal for maturing technologies. Okay. You can select what kind of alignment you want. So we'll go with center aligned. You can select the color of the particular text, so we can change that to red or something. So, but we do not want it for entirety of it. Oh yeah. So, okay. But a little small, right? So we'll make it bigger. The text. Okay. Now then there is a footer always, right? So what is the footer? It says visit this website or something for application forms and about some information. So we'll copy this. We'll to make it aesthetic enough, we'll make a new shape. So one of the things over here is there is no shape tool, right? So there is always a selection tool. You can either make an ellipse or a rectangle. So we'll go make a selection of a triangle, and to work our way around it we'll just paint it. So we paint it black. Okay, why doesn't the selection work? That we need a new one here. Okay, pretty thick, right? So we'll scale it. And we can move it again back to its place. Now we just copy this information, add another text. So this is the text right here. Add new layer for text. The text. And the second line. Make it same size, that is 85. And now it looks a little more aesthetic. Right. So we see there's a little discrepancy. We need to move everything to the left. And for the rectangle footer, yeah, this looks better. Okay, so now just it's almost done, right? It looks better, and your poster is almost made. So now you just need to fill up this left and right gaps with objects or illustrations that I had shown you earlier. And you need to make it look good and better, that goes with your background. So you have light on the left, right, and on the center stage, and you want a shadowing effect, or you want something that pops that out and everything to look perfectly in place. So to do that, we'll just import our illustrations first. So let's go with both illustrations. Yeah, we have one illustration here that is a lot of people, and another illustration here that a man is doing, trying to climb something. So we'll scale them again, make them, this illustration looks perfectly scaled. We'll go with the second one, scale this a little. Let's maintain the aspect ratio. Yeah, okay, and move it around here or something. Now it's scaled. And now we want, but it doesn't quite go with the background and it just looks, stuck upon or something. So we'll go select that particular layer with that illustration, go in filters, and with go in light and shadows. There are a lot of tools and a lot of filters that you can discover here, but we can go in filters, we'll go in light and shadows, and we'll give it different type of shadowing effect. So there is the drop shadow and there is long shadow. Let's see what long shadow does. So long shadow gives it a preset effect, and you can select at what angle do you want the shadow to be. So when I move, the angle of my shadow also moves. So you need to make sure according to your designing aspect where your light is falling. So where you would want it to be, there is always length of the shadow. It takes time, do not worry. It takes a little time to render. So and then you can select how, if it's finite, if it's infinite, what kind of shadow do you want it to be. So we'll select the angle. I think 45 was the right angle. On default, we'll make a finite shadow. The color seems to be okay, and you can select blending options, so we can decrease the opacity a little bit, right? So the shadow doesn't overpower our image itself. Okay, and let's do the something similar to the second one. So we'll select the second one, select a different kind of shadow this time. We'll go with the long shadow. Oh, I think we did long shadow last time, so we'll go with drop shadow this time. Filters, light and show, drop shadow. All right, so drop shadow is more like a glow. So it talks about the glowing radius and the opacity. So I'll increase the opacity right here. And then you can see the glowing radius to increase. So it's more like a glow over the entirety of image. So something that is in the center of your image would have a glow, right? Then select how much do you want it to spread out. That would be your blur radius. Decrease the opacity a little, or blend it in perfect places, or try to make it pop out however you want it to be. We'll move this for now. You can also select some other kind of uh, enhancing tools, like hmm, let's go with bloom. What does this do? The more you experiment out with all these presets or all these, I should say, filters, the better you get at doing things. So it looks more or less complete over here. Right now, you just have to, now you're ready with your design. I think you are done with everything and everything looks perfectly in place. So how do you export it? You just have to go in File and Export. and then you will be asked what kind of export you want. You want it to be a PNG or JPEG. So if there is no transparent image or there's no transparent material, I should say you should always go with JPEG since the compression size is better. But we'll go with PNG if we have, transparent elements. So we'll just select it as final or something, and we'll click export. And these are all the default features. So we'll just export it. So it's rendering in background. One of the good practices is also to save this file itself. So just in case you want to edit it in future out again. So we can save this file as well. Go on desktop, resources, and just save. So we are done with this, and we'll just look at the final product or final output that we made. So this is the banner final, right? And this is what we made right in front of you. I think I took a lot of time of you guys. If anyone has any doubts or any questions to ask for or something, they can ask me, or I'll hand it over to Sanjana, who will carry on and show you different designing or other features that are there with the software.
Hey guys, I'm Sanjana, and yeah, so Dan gave us a pretty really a good explanation about how to make a simple banner, and I'm pretty sure he covered most of the tools that you would use. I would just like to show you a little bit different about how you can make your designs a little bit more, complex and more like using more features. So yeah, I'll just share my screen. Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. So I'm pretty sure everybody, since you're attending the workshop, you would have definitely seen this poster. And I mean, at least to me, when I just started designing, all these designs used to look very complicated to me. And I used to feel like these were designs that I could never work around. But the one thing that I think most people don't seem to consider is that we live in a world where everything right now is available on YouTube, on like Google, and like you just have to find enough resources, and we just need those resources to be used in a perfect way. So let's say we have to design that the same banner, and let's go to create. Okay, so again for a recap, if you have just installed GIMP, your logos must look very different than mine do. You can just change them at preferences, and at preferences you should go to icon theme. I just chose this because I find it colorful. You can choose whatever you like, whatever works with you. And over there, you can also decide how the logos are, how the icons are put on. So, for example, over here, a lot of my tools are grouped. Like for example, the scale tool has all the scaling features. You can also individually put them on using the same location. Like if I go to toolbox, I can decide which tools are grouped, which aren't, and how I want them to be placed. So the really cool feature with GIMP is that first thing, since it's open sourced and since it's like made by a community, every single feature here can be changed. You can make it look however you want, whatever works for you, and it's very flexible with your working. So you're not stuck to any rigid ideas of how something has to look. So anyway, let's go on to designing that. Now, I'm just going to choose this. I think these are the dimensions for a Facebook banner. And let's say these are the dimensions I choose. So I choose width as, I'm choosing them in pixels because I feel it's easier for me to understand what is the ratio of the aspects and everything. And here we have a simple uh, blank template. Now, everybody must have seen the color, right? But so for the color, one thing that you can always do is you just have to go to Google and look up elements. So, for example, you have a site called FreePic, which has ready-made PSG files or like ESP Illustrator files or all of those things, which can be lucky for us, GIMP is compatible with most of those files. So you can choose whatever element you want from another file and use it over here. So I just googled around and I found this element that I like. So I'm just gonna drop it down over here. And yeah, so right now my element is also white, which is why you cannot see what it is. So I'll just change the background color to black, or so I change the color, then I go to the fill bucket tool. I select the background layer, which is the most important thing because it won't color properly. And okay, so one thing you can do is with your designs is, now if you have too many elements, but you don't know, like if you don't want some to be seen, you want specific ones, you can just want to try it around. You can use this feature where this eye icon sort of thing, which will like make it visible and disappear. So you can use accordingly. So anyway, as you can see now, I have this shape which is like transparent in between, so you can see the background and the rest is white. And now we can just scale it. So as we have seen, this is the scale tool. We right click on it, we select the scale tool and we select the element. Again, it's very important to choose the element. So, and as Siddhant already mentioned, with GIMP or with any heavy editing software, they usually will lag while you work. So give it a second. You can slowly, wait a second, have a little patience. It takes a little while for them to work properly, but they will. So anyway, yeah, okay. Another thing with GIMP is every single tool will have its specific what we call a lot of things that you can work around with on the left side. So all these things here are things that you can use on the tool, which will be very interesting. So for example, over here we have a button called around the center. So if this is tick marked, what it basically means is if I'm scaling it around, the image will scale from the center. So, if I want it fixed over here and I just want to change the dimension, it's very easy to do that. Otherwise, it's a task to, change it perfectly. And keep aspect ratio, again, we have seen that is that we want to maintain the dimension of the image, which I don't need right now. So I'm just gonna deselect that. And yeah, so now I can pull each and every corner and make it however I want it to be. And yeah, so let's say this is what I've chosen for now. Now, um you guys must have seen there was a colorful thing around here. Now, what do we do for that? So for that, I just chose a random image from Google again, which was like a watercolored image, and I just added that to this. And one very important thing with any like working around with photo editing is the layers in point. So right now this layer is above, so it doesn't make sense. But on the other hand, the moment I put this layer behind that, it should, hold on. As I said, it's taking a while because of too many things working around. I'll just add that layer again. Yeah, so see, the moment this layer is behind, it gets blended into that and it looks like it's part of that. But again, since this image is only this much, a lot of it is, getting blacked out. So I would just like to like extend this image. Again, while I'm editing, this layer is coming above. So it just looks like it is above, it is not above. So like the moment I'll click otherwise, it will go back to where it was. And yeah, okay, I can just see a little bit of spot around here. And yeah, so now we have our background. It's simple, yet it looks so like complicated to work with, but yeah, that's all you had to do. And now as designers, the one thing that I feel is very helpful is when you like keep some standard things that you would require in every single design handy. So for example, I have compiled this group these couple of layers, which is basically the heading that I can use with every single design. Again, the location of uh, the layer matters. Yeah, give me a second. Yeah. So if I add the layer, yeah, so this layer has everything that would be required in a heading usually. I'll just decrease the size. Again, I keep maintain the aspect ratio because otherwise it would just get decreased from the middle and we don't want that. And I'll move this up over here, and yeah, you just scale it around to whatever feels convenient for you and whatever you feel looks aesthetic. And there we have it. We have the basic requirements necessary, and we have a simple background. Now, another thing is when you add a lot of designs from the internet, most of the times those designs will come like as images. So, for example, when I googled graphics icons, I got this, which is like having a lot of elements like graphics day and a background, and I was only interested in these aspects of these designs of the image. So what can we do to just eliminate those? So what we do is first, okay, so when you import a lot of colorful images, GIMP only has RBG and like grayscale. We do not have the CYMK, so you have to like it'll ask you to convert it basically. It doesn't cause any issues. But yeah, I'll just reduce the size of this and zoom it back. Okay, but now as you can see, I don't want a lot of the background or the graphics J or any of those things. So how do I delete this? For this, we have a tool called Fuzzy Select tool. Now, Fuzzy Select tool has two options, which is either select by color or fuzzy select. Fuzzy select is basically if you select a background, it will select a specific color unless and until it finds a division or something to it. So if I click on the background now, all of the background is getting selected around here. And if I just delete it, the background goes away. And to deselect, we can do Control Shift A. So the only selected part is this. Again, I don't want this part of it. So I can go to fuzzy select and select this, or I can do fuzzy select by color, which will basically choose the whole color, and I go to delete. And yeah, but again, I don't want this. So another tool we have here is crop. So for crop, I can just crop out this much of my image, and I can enter it. Okay, sorry. But okay, we'll just remove this aspect of it. And okay, another tool for selecting we have here is called a free selection tool. So what a free selection tool is basically, as it says, a selection tool to select whatever you want. So the only thing here is the selection tool is like free according to you. So once you click it, you get a node, and then you can just work around using multiple nodes about maybe covering a area. So this is the area I don't want. So I selected only that area and I press delete, and that part is deleted off. So yeah, and we can shift control press A again, and we have this element that we can use around here. Uh, I would request everybody to be on mute. Yeah. Anyway, so okay, now we have most of our design items here, and let's get on to the text. So as we saw, we usually have some requirements or some basic things that would be necessary in a this that you would have to find out from whoever you're designing it for. For example, we need one big thing called graphics workshop. So I'll just copy that text and let's make a text layer. So we paste that text, and now we have this text. Now, of course, we want it to be, big and like, something that's really attractive. So you can go around, look at the internet, find out different types of fonts that would work. I have this font that I really like called Endo, which makes it look pretty good. So I'm just going to use that. And also, just double click this and enter, and I can still the size of it. Yeah, so here we have that. Okay. Now, as we saw earlier, there is no what we call shape tool in GIMP, which is a little bit of problem. But since we have the selection tool, which does so many things, is that you don't even have to worry about not having a shape tool. So, for example, if I select the rectangle tool, or just for an example, I'm just going to create uh, another template, and I'm just using an A4 size. And now let's say I have this layer, and just to show you around about what the selection tool can do. Now let's say we have this red background, and we want to make some unique shape. So I take the select ellipse tool. Now, as I said, GIMP has a lot of features over here which can be very useful if we understand how to use them. So the first mode here is replace the current selection. The second is add. Third is subtract, and fourth is intersect. Now, what does that mean? So when we select basic replace, we get a shape. We took an ellipse. Over here, I've fixed an aspect ratio of 1 to 1, which is why it's a circle. If I remove that, it would be whatever shape I want. So once I've added that, and let's say I want to make something unique, so I go to add to correct current selection, and now I remove the fixed aspect, and now I'm making a random, ellipse. Now both these shapes got added, and we have a unique shape. On the other hand, if I want to remove a specific part of it, I'm just gonna again do the same and click on this. Now we again have a unique shape, and if I go on create a new layer, let's new layer, and if I do OK, now the selection is on the new layer. So all I have to do is choose a different color and fill that up, and we have a different shape as we want. So point is, you can create how many ever shapes you want, whatever you want, however to work around. It's very flexible to work around like that. Anyway, so I want a rectangle over here to have a lot of our colleagues' information. So I'm going to select rectangle tool. Right now, so I can fix a specific width, height, or okay. So again, as I said, again, all aspects of a tool are always going to be like below over here. So again, we go to the mode. This also has different modes as we saw, and we go to the first one. And over here, I can, let's say, I am sure that I want a rectangle with the width of 5 pixels. Height, I can change, but I want the width to be that much. So I can fix it over there. Same with the position. Like if I know, like you can find out, the position of this. For now, like for example, I can see on the scale that this is at 500 and 300. So this point is over here, and I want a specific shape here. So I can just select the position and put that on here. Anyway, so now let's create a rectangle, and I'm just going to deselect the fixed because I want it to be a free rectangle. And here's my rectangle. Go to new layer, rectangle, and I go to OK. Paint it with a really dark color or whatever you like. And yeah, go to the paint bucket tool, paint it, and there we have a rectangle tool. We can just move it however we want, again scale it to the whole image, and yeah, everything else can be added using the text box. Now if you noticed, my image had a small part where we had added our faces with our photos in a circle, but my image over here is a square, is a rectangle. How do I make it into a circle, and how do I do, like, fix it like that? So a very important feature is called clipping mask, which also exists in a lot of other editing apps. And yeah, just give me 1 second. Yeah. So first what we do is we import the image. Yeah, we saw two ways to import the image. We can go to add a layer, or we can just drag it and drop it. Again, it asks me for the color features, and I choose this. And then, okay, now I have my image. Now I just want a circle on this. So I go to the select tool, I choose an ellipse, and now I select the fixed aspect ratio because I want it to be a perfect circle. And yeah, just okay, there are too many elements here, so yeah, GIMP freezes a little bit while that happens. And yeah, just give me 1 second, I'll just re-add the layer. Okay. Yeah. Convert, and we have the image again. Now I'll go to select again. Make sure that the layer is selected, and I'm drawing. Again, it's freezing a little bit, so I'm not able to work around. Okay, I'll just do it on a different workspace. So yeah, I'll just go to Files, create again a random workspace, and I go to OK. Fill up a background, import our image. I'll scale it up so it's visible. And yeah, so we go back to select and we select the circle that we want. So we have all of these features. Yeah. Um, okay. Okay, that feature is getting frozen a little bit. I'll get to it again in a while. Okay, so for now, so I can use that later and I'm just hiding that out for now. And yeah, so now let's say we have a text like the graphics workshop. Now this looks good, but we can use a lot of different effects to make it look better. Now, what do I mean by that? So we saw using, long shadow and drop shadow. But one thing that you can do with these features is that you can choose a different color. So for example, if I choose, let's say purple for our image, like, I wanted to give a purple colored hue. So like or a pink hue, whatever is visible here, since right now the colors are behind it, it's not very visible. But let's say I want to choose yeah, a deep blue to it for it to have a glow sort of effect, and I can just change the radius of how that looks, make the opacity better, and make it basically make the text glow up. So like for example over here, so you see it's much more visible and much more attractive. Again, that would depend on the design that you have, and however all of those things. But yeah, you can use this feature to make your text come up and be more visible. Yeah, and the rest that we have to add on this this is like all of our simple texts, which I'm pretty sure you got the idea of about how to add text. And yeah, just to make it more interesting, you can add more smaller logos. So I give like add a location logo to show like the time and place. Again, now I got this icon of Google, and now again I don't want the background, so I select only the background using the fuzzy tool, delete it, even the center I delete it, Control Shift A, and yeah, we have only the background now, and we can scale it down and add our all our other information on it and finish that up. And yeah, just export that and we have the file ready. Okay, so this is done with our poster. Like I'll not add more features and export it just because I'm pretty sure you guys have already gotten the hang of it. Now, let's say you have to design a certificate, and like what do you do? So we go to a new template and we get a certificate that's horizontal. Hold on, I'll just choose a template A4 horizontal, and here we have a certificate. Now, if you go to Google, again, you would find a lot. If you just type certificates on it, you get a lot of different certificate templates on it. But how do we edit them? So let's say I have this certificate template that I just got off Google, and I import it here, and this is my certificate. Now I want to use this, but I don't want all of this around it because it makes no sense. So I go to the crop tool. I crop out only the white part which I want, and I press enter. So I have only the crop white part now. And we can zoom in a little bit more. I Yeah. Now again over here, we don't want, let's say, the lines behind, because I don't like them. So what we can do for that is we can zoom in pretty well, and again, as I said, select by color, and we can just delete out that part, select that, delete, and yeah, that. I didn't select the right part, this part. So yeah, So we can just work around with that and choose whatever type of like background we want and get it all deleted. And again, now I want this whole space to be blank. So I go to the free select tool, make a big random shape that will include everything in this and just delete it. And there we have like a deleted space. Yeah, I'm aware that, so you can see that all these horizontal lines, we don't want them. So again, we can go to the fuzzy select tool, select them, delete, and yeah, they would get deleted, and we just add our text. Another thing is, if I supposedly want this to be black now, same, just the fuzzy tool is like one of your like best friends because it can do every single thing, and you just have to select a specific tool. With paint bucket as well, you have a feature. So wait, I'll just select by color. So all the color that's dark gets selected. And in paint bucket, you have a feature called fill fill similar colors. So if I select that and if I just put the paint bucket here, all the colors that are blue will get selected. So whatever it feels is blue, it'll paint that part. And see, as you can see, whatever is getting identified gets painted and the rest doesn't. And yeah, so you can just work around with that. Another thing that you can do is, so now once you have all the information, I'll just like let that be. But yeah, you can color it whole and just hold on. I'll just see, you can color it individually as well. So you can change up however your design wants it to be. And now another thing that you can do is, if you have a lot of certificates to make, because usually you have to make certificates in bulk, you can write scripts to make a certificate where you have an Excel sheet or a list of names, and you can just write a Python script on it and do that. But that's just for your information because it's a whole different thing to get into. But yeah, that's it from my end. If you guys have any questions, you can ask them right now. Does anybody have any questions? You can turn on your microphone or you could put it in the chat box.
Hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Hello,
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Participant, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, sorry. So, Sanjana, the questions are pouring from the participants in the chat box. Can I read them out to you, Sanjana?
Yes,
Hello,
ma'am.
Sanjana.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, can we get the link of software from where to download? I think this is already given in the message, right?
Yeah, if you don't have it, you could text us or we'll circulate the messages again so you can get them.
I think, Sanjana, if we can send an email to all the participants, that will be really great.
Yeah, we already did that. We would do that again.
Okay, okay. Now Shukla Puneet says, do we have to use all online illustrations, or is it possible to make it in the software?
Yeah, definitely it is possible to make it in the software. It just requires your practice and your patience to work around with it. And yeah, you can definitely make them however you like. We just showed you to use online ones, so it's easier and more, like easier for beginners to work with. But yeah, you can definitely do that.
Okay. So participants, are there any other questions? I could see 75 plus in your workshop. So that's really nice. Yes, participants, please feel free to ask. They are our, very, very generous speakers. They will answer each and every smallest query that you have. Yes, now you have Yashas Rao. Since GIMP does not have shape selection tool, it may become difficult when it comes to logo design. Can you suggest any other software?
So again, there are a lot of other softwares, but the issue is most of them are licensed and are pretty heavy on your systems. So this would be the most basic. Of course, there are way too many softwares available to look around, like Illustrator or something like that. But again, those are all going to be licensed, and to design logos, it might be a task for you to do it without having a licensed software.
Okay, but I think basic logos can be done, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's
Yes, ma'am.
yeah,
Basic ones, yeah.
yeah. So it's not that impossible to do logo on GIMP, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Good, good. So now we have
Yeah.
Tanvi putting up a question. Siddhant, you can also join us to answer questions. I think if you can put your camera on, people can,
Yeah,
student participants
just
can see.
to just to answer the previous question, if I may, about the logo
Yeah,
designing,
please,
all
please.
the online resources that I showed earlier that were regarding, all the illustrations that you can get as free of source from the community. There are platforms that will help you design your logo. Like, it's more like an inspiration that you can get from, so you can select certain elements from their design and then you can just import them over here and you can make your own logo instead of starting something from scratch, which is very crude and difficult to do.
Okay, okay. So now we have one more question from, I think question rather than question. This is a help. Tanvi is asking her. She says that can we get list of links, where they can import illustrations. I hope Tanvi, I have asked the right question.
So
Like,
as we mentioned, yeah. So there's a very well-known site called freepix.com, which is FREPIX, I think, and that site usually has a lot of ready-made designs. But apart from that, you could genuinely just Google something very basic, and you could just edit out whatever you want and remove and keep more other points. So if you do need something specific, yeah, we can help you with that. But most of the time, all you need to do is type in a Google search, and you would get what you want, and you can just edit out and as I showed, remove whatever you don't want from the section of it.
okay, okay, okay. Participants, if you have any other questions,
Ma'am, there are a few more. I think you're not able to see them.
yeah. Can
Okay.
you just answer them if you can read them?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So there's a question from, I think, Puneet. He's asking, what can we make apart from banners on GIMP? So we made banners since that is what is a lot of requirement in around college. But you can also edit images. You can make any type of post that you want for like Instagram posts or something like that. But yeah, you could edit your images. A lot of things, like if you want to fix your images, maybe blur out people, add people, all of those things can be done. You can make add effects, everything that is usually done with photo editing can be done on GIMP. um, okay, if that has answered your question, the next question is from uh, Kshitija, that is again, is that can you suggest some good sites for reference? Yeah, I think I answered that already. And the another question is, can you please share the website where we can get the? Oh, yeah, okay, sure. We'll just send it to you in a message later on, so it's easier for you to get the elements. And Yeah, but apart from that, I honestly mean you can just Google in whatever you want and you will get it. You just have to save the image and work with it.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? I think that was the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll share all the resources in the participants group on WhatsApp, and or
We
we can
can
also shoot
email.
a mail.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll also shoot a mail.
So it's important that all of you asking questions are already registered, and if not registered, please do register so that we have your emails and at least give feedback. So important information for participants is Gitanjali, I would want you to post the feedback link in the chat box. So I think we have come to the end of this session, or maybe a new beginning, you can say, so that people start using the things that Siddhant and Sanjana have trained. So I would like to begin, by thanking our speakers, Sanjana and Siddhant, and making this, you can say, a dream of mine come true at such a short notice. Thank you, Siddhant and Sanjana, so much. Gitanjali, can you help us by presenting a memento to Siddhant? I would want both of you to keep your cameras on.
Yes, ma'am, they're on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
And this one is for Sanjana. So good round of applause for Sanjana and Siddhant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjana and Siddhant, both of you, for making this come true. Now, I would like to present the certificate to our student coordinator, Ramya Sakpal. Congratulations, Ramya, for completing the workshop very nicely.
Thank you,
Volun-
ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. This is for Himanshu, our student volunteer. Hearty congratulations, Himanshu. We have Sanskar, our screen handler. Thank you, Sanskar, for helping us. Gitanjali, who is handling our screen. Thank you, Gitanjali, for helping us. Wonderful teamwork, all of you. Now comes our faculty coordinator, Jyoti Bansod, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. This is for our overall coordinator, Vaishali Kosamkar, madam. Thank you, Vaishali, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.